If I could be 18 years old again, you know what I would do? Buy every get-rich program in the world. Everyone. Not because I think they work, but because you can learn, like Abraham Lincoln said, learn from everybody, even if it's what not to do. You could learn how they marketed. You could learn the science of persuasion, reading people. And by the way, my experience is most get-rich-quick schemes, if you exclude the blatant ones like Ponzi schemes, Bernie Madoff. But if you just look at some people, for example, MLM, network marketing, oh, it's a scam. Well, haven't built my net worth at all through MLMs or network marketing. I probably have earned $1 in my life through it. But I should have done it because I was like $250, you're in Amway or Herbalife or something, and you get a whole social network of people wanting to learn. And could you learn more than $250 worth of stuff? Yeah. Sales, leadership, teams, how to lead a team of people. These are all invaluable skills that you don't learn really in college, and you're dropping 30 G's a year for 4 years to come out with a piece of paper. People are getting English degrees who already speak English. The greatest con. And I know people say, oh, well, English degrees so you learn to be a writer. Okay, you think all great writers have English degrees? That's like saying you think all great business people have MBAs, business degrees. Last I checked, Bill Gates was 20 years in a row richest man in the world. College dropout. Mark Zuckerberg's worth $70 billion and he's in his 30s. College dropout. I don't know, man. So stop being so skeptical. I wish I would go back and just buy every get-rich-quick scheme. Some of them I'd learn something, some I would throw away. I mean, it's not the only thing. I'm just saying, as an example of why skepticism is the beginning of the end for your financial net worth, it's just because 1 out of 10 of those crazy ideas is like the next Facebook, is like the next Tinder. It's like, my business partner that I told you sold Zeus for $300 million. He told me, Ty, when I started doing apps, people thought I meant appetizers, like food. It's like, oh, I'm building apps. People were like, oh, what kind of food were you doing? He was so early because he wasn't skeptical that he caught a trend. And by 2014, he had a fourth highest grossing app in any category ever made by a human. Over $100 million generated from his app. Because he got in early because he wasn't skeptical. So, number one, I was saying, what are the little pinpricks? A, reduce skepticism. B, catch things early. Early apps in 2009. I caught Google AdWords in 2001 and 2. I caught YouTube ads in 2014. Ad costs used to be super cheap. The margins were like 80%. So your little pinpricks, one of the bad habits of non-motivated people, or people don't know how to motivate themselves, is they just they wallow in this pity and they wallow in this negativity. And like, oh, this is new. This is a scam. Well, great. You already been scammed, my friend. Don't worry about the scam so much. Don't worry about it. You already been scammed. Look back at your junior high school. What'd you learn? You learned the Pythagorean theorem, hypotenuse of a triangle, but you didn't learn how to invest in real estate. You didn't learn how to do your taxes. You didn't learn how to launch a business. You didn't learn the difference between an LLC and an S Corp. Like, what'd you learn, man? Did you learn how to invest in stocks? Did you learn how to short stocks? Do you even know what that means? Did you learn how to do M&A, acquisition? You don't learn how to buy businesses? Nah, you already been scammed, man. Woman, stop it. Motivate yourself by, seeing the glass half full, not always half empty. Stupid cliche, but kind of true. So, A, don't be skeptical. B, catch trends early. You have to catch trends early. Jeff Bezos started doing Ecomm in 1994. JCPenney, Neiman Marcus, J. Crew, American Apparel, Forever 21, all bankrupt recently. Why? They caught the trends too late. I mean, JCPenney is just discovering people don't want to go to stores. Jeff Bezos caught that trend in 94. It's 26 years. And it's like, so C, you can't be a slow learner. And A and B lead to slow learning. Skepticism, not catching trends early. C, I guarantee you, if you want your net worth to decrease, be a slow learner, boy. Take 26 years to learn what Jeff Bezos learned in 94. It's a great way to go bankrupt. JCPenney just whoop, GNC, whoop. These companies all gone. They'll be gone. Dodo. I buy big brands. I bought Dress Barn. It had made somebody a billionaire, and they sold it to me for pennies on the dollar. A company I did $740 million of revenue in 2019, last year. I own it. I'm the largest shareholder. Me and my business partners own it. So I never, luckily, because I learned from guys like Joel Salatin, I learned catch trends early. So how do you get a measurable set of success? I'm telling you, measurable is money and health. And if you get those right, I hope you can also win at those non-measurable things like love and happiness. And when it comes to money, focus on net worth. Is it going up? If it's going up, even if it's going up slow, it's fine. It's direction over velocity. Are you going the right direction? Less skepticism, more catching things early. More catching things early. More quick learning, less slow learning. One of my mentors is a guy named Pooh Richardson. He played pro basketball. He was an all-star, played for the Clippers, played against his first rookie game, played against Michael Jordan. He told me, Ty, your competence is your confidence. But the question is, how do you get competence at something? You know how to self-motivate. So ask yourself on a 1 to 10. Write down what you thought you'd be doing at the age you're at now. Are you there? That's a scary question, boy. One of the first days of your life is when you answer that question honestly. Like, what I thought I would be at whatever age you are, 18, 30, 40, 60. Did you pull it off? Because if not, I can tell you why. Because when I look back at my life, there's things that, yeah, I got exactly what I wanted, and things that I didn't. And it's all because I didn't motivate right on that thing. So, what's the magic secret sauce of becoming self-motivated? I'll give you 3 things. 3. 1, 2, 3. Why 3? Because it's easy to remember 3. 1, you primarily only motivate socially. There's a great book by a Harvard guy at UCLA. He's now at UCLA. He studied the brain. It's got a guy named Matt Lieberman. It's called Social. You can read it. Social. He said, basically, humans are wired to do things socially. So if you ain't in the gym, it's probably because your social circle doesn't make the gym a priority, and neither do you. Humans learn through osmosis. It rubs off on you. So step number 1 to self-motivate, are you in a group of self-motivated people? Because if not, run for your life, because your life is slipping like water through your fingers. You try to drink water and you put it in your hand, it just slips through your fingers. Time runs out, boy, on life. One of the greatest philosophers of all time said, the problem is art is long and life is short. That's the Oracle of Delphi, 2,000 years ago. Meaning the art of living a good life takes a long time to figure out, but life is short, slips through the fingers. So you better change your social circle. And if you can't do it in person, you can do it virtually. You can listen to audiobooks. I was listening to Snowball by Warren Buffett. It was like, just the way Buffett motivated himself throughout his life was rubbing off on me. It's kind of artificial social, but it's better than nothing. If you're overweight, you ain't gonna self-motivate. If you knew how to self-motivate, you'd probably be in the shape you want to be, but you're not. So the way to self-motivate is kind of counter to what you would logically go, I need to just huff and puff and then go to the gym and say a mantra. No. Hang out with people that love going to the gym. And the next thing you know, you start to go to the gym. You want to make $1 million? Hang out with people that making $1 million would be embarrassing. Really. I grew up with a single mom, never met a millionaire. In fact, I never met somebody who made $100,000 until one year, one of my uncles made $100,000 in car sales. And I was like, whoa, this dude, what is that? Now, I've been fortunate enough to spend time around people who, 5 billionaires I've spent some interesting time with, some more than others. But I've learned from them. And every time I'm not motivated, I'm going, these guys lifted this much business-wise. Am I struggling under this? No, and that social, that even memory of a social interaction can help you. So that's step number one. You know, change your social circle, change your life, change your social circle, change your motivation. And I'll tell you, we live in a world where anxiety is high, and I notice people who have high anxiety or have low self-esteem, they all hang out together. And I'm going, why? If you're sick, most important thing you can do is hang around people that ain't sick. Really. One of the most dangerous things that can ever happen to you, go to a hospital. The mortality rate, if you don't have to go to the hospital, don't go hang out at the hospital because you pick up germs you didn't have before. Stay around healthy people if you can. Sometimes you got to go to the hospital. But it's a fact, mortality rate drops, and it's not just correlation, it's causation. If you're anxious while you're hanging out with people who are anxious, you think you're going to help them? No, you're all going to hurt each other. You think you're doing a good deed? No, my friend. Change your social circle, change your life. You want to make more money? Tell me about that social circle. By the way, that's a whole nother conversation because in general, the wealthy don't want to hang out with the poor. That's the sad thing. People riot over it. I don't know if that solves the problem. You can throw rocks at somebody who knows something more than you. Doesn't mean they're going to teach you what they know. Anyway, that's another conversation. What's the second way? Self-motivate. They say if you're hiring somebody, like a salesperson, and you want them to sell a lot for you, give them a Ferrari. Don't make them earn the Ferrari. Why? You give them the Ferrari once, and then you tell them, if you don't hit the sales goal, I take it away. Because once the person starts driving a Ferrari, they're like, wow, this is the coolest thing I've ever done. This is the best car I've ever driven. I didn't even know what it was like to drive a Ferrari. I better hit my sales quota. So you give, and then the threat of taking away, once you have a taste, the threat of taking away is the ultimate motivation. So my dream for you, let's say you want to motivate on making more money and you feel like you're lost and lazy or anxious. Man, I wish you could get a taste for one day what it would be like to have an extra 100 grand in your bank account, or an extra million, or an extra 10 G's just sitting around, or the ability to make it. I wish you could taste that, because once you tasted it once, you would self-motivate to keep that going. People who, can't get in the gym, I'm like, you know what I wish you would do? For a day, you can snap your fingers and you're in great shape, and you see how people interact with you different. And you go, I want that for the rest of my life. I want that to never stop. What do I have to do it? So you have to reverse engineer what keeps you going, what keeps you motivated. And part of it is to taste it. That's why I said, going back to number one, social circle. Mark Cuban told me, Ty, I used to drive around Dallas to people who had cool houses. So he changed his social circle, kind of. He just drove by them. But it was like he tasted what it would be nice to have a nice home. I grew up in a mobile home. Like my teenage years, when I graduated high school, I graduated living in a double wide mobile home. Nothing wrong with that, by the way. But it wasn't. When I got to taste like an actual house that wouldn't blow away in a hurricane, I lived in Clayton, North Carolina. There was always hurricanes, and the first thing to do is blow away mobile homes. I was like, wow, this is like the first day of my life. Like, I remember I started making money. I learned e-commerce, and I was one of the first people to do Ecomm. I started I was working for GE Capital. I had got this job, and I used the internet to generate leads. Google AdWords. The second month Google AdWords came out, I was in it. And all of a sudden, I went from a mobile home to like, whoa, this is cool. I have an actual house with like a nice kitchen, and from that day forward, I was like, I'm going to make sure I make enough money that I don't go backwards. Again, not looking down on somebody, because I came from that place. I was born in Long Beach, man. My dad was in prison. My mom never made more than, 15 grand a year. And now that I've had a taste, I don't want to go backwards. So sometimes I don't feel like motivating. I wake up and I'm like, I'm going to read a book. I'm going to put in some work. I'm going to put in some study. I'm going to go the extra mile when everybody else gives up. I'm going to do it. Because I remember having a taste of the difference between success and not being successful. It's kind of a cool thing. You got to taste it. So if you're like me and you didn't have the ability to test it, maybe you got to do what Mark Cuban did and go drive around. See what other people are pulling off. I like to be around people pulling off stuff better than me, because then I'm like, Little competition won't hurt you, which brings me to number 3. Up your competition a little bit. Little healthy competition never hurt the world at all. At all. People think, it's like we're all winners. We all get a star in first grade. Well, I don't know. Maybe that's good, but maybe it causes more harm than you think. Maybe it causes some good, but maybe it causes more harm than good to give everybody a little lifetime achievement award when they didn't do anything. Is that really like, who do you think has more self-confidence or feels better about their life? Someone who became a concert piano player, and even if they don't do it for a living, let's say, but they're at that skill level, can sit down and just play at a party they have. Or somebody who was lazy, didn't motivate, and has no skill. I've met people with high levels of skill. I've never met an unhappy one. I've met a lot of unhappy people who never were taught how to motivate themselves, never pulled off health, wealth, love, happiness. I meet those all the time. 100 million people watch my YouTube videos and Facebook videos a year. I get all kinds of people messaging me, mostly about depression, anxiety, low self-confidence, feeling stuck, being poor, all those things. And my answer is like, yeah, maybe you need to compete a little more. We live in a world where it's like we want to make everything even. It's kind of like communism. It meant well. But look at the history of communism. Everywhere it's touched, it's left the world a worse off place. China, big communist place, one of the lowest GDPs. A lot of poverty. Most people in poverty. Real poverty. You know, people are like, oh, people in China are eating this food that's causing, these diseases. Yeah, because a lot of them are poor. Because of the communism thought, let's make everything even. Let's remove competition. Well, Will Durant, maybe the smartest person I've ever read. He's dead now, but he wrote The History of Civilization, one of the greatest 1,000 pages of books you've ever read. And he said that the second lesson of biology is life is competition. And we live in a world that wants to dull that down because like your mommy says, no, everything, I love you. Well, welcome to the real world. In the economy, you think people love you because your mom loves you? No, you must perform. You must perform. You must perform. And if you think that there'll ever be a system that allows you to not perform, why would you want that system? What do you think makes you go to the bed the happiest? Joel Salatin, my first mentor, he was just on Joe Rogan twice now. And when I was 19, I lived with him for 2 years on his farm. And I remember he used to tell me, he said, the best thing about doing farm work, Ty? This was in the evening, 6 o'clock. I said, what was it? He said, coming in hungry, man. He said, you know how few people have the gift of given to them or earned of feeling hungry because you put in physical work? You know how many people sit in cubicles, Ty, and feel bad and have backaches and have all this? It's because they don't move around. They don't earn the right to be hungry. And one of the greatest feelings on earth is to be hungry and have good farm fresh food in front of you. So don't neglect the little things. You earned that little thing. And happiness is there. One of the greatest ways people are happy is you're hungry and you eat good food. Don't look down on those little pleasures of life, boy. You start counting out those little pleasures of life, you ain't got nothing left. The Lambo and the Ferrari ain't better than good food. I can tell you because I've had both. So he was telling me subtly, teaching me a lesson like Mr. Miyagi in Karate Kid. It was like, no, man, doing stuff, pushing yourself makes you go to bed happier. All this world, people on anxiety medication and depression, some of that I'm sure is hormonal, for sure. Not to disparage that. But you don't think some of it's from us being taught a bunch of lies that, no, you just love yourself, just self-love. Yeah, self-love because you did stuff, because you accomplished today, because you earned the right to go to bed tired, and you earned the right to sit around the dinner table hungry. I know people don't want to hear this because we're becoming kind of like, I feel like world's becoming more communistic. Everything's kumbaya, baby. No, it ain't kumbaya. Look at Mother Nature. Go to Africa. Go to South America. I was once in the jungle of Panama. Woo! It's competition there. And you think some politician is going to change that? You think some universal income will change that? You got hard lessons to learn still, my friend. Hard lessons to learn. Because the second lesson of biology is that life's competition. So, number 3 was what Will Durant said. Get a little more competitive. Now, my business partner, very competitive, Dr. Mayer, some of you have seen him on his social media. He just sold his e-commerce business, Zeusk, for $300 million last summer. And he's still competitive. And he's a happy guy. I've known him for over a decade. He's happy. He's got self-love. Because he pushed himself and knew how to motivate himself. And he's a very motivated guy. And one of the things he told me, this is number 4, I'll give you a bonus one. The way to motivate yourself is to make sure you have something that's easy to measure. Happiness is a tough one because it's like a little bit subjective. That's why Alex, he's like, here, Ty. He's got a PhD, by the way. He worked for NASA, and his PhD is in multi-objective optimization, which he said, I said, what'd you learn after getting your PhD? He said, that's not possible. So number 4 is you can't do multi-objective optimization, meaning you can't strive for too many goals at once. I mean, you can do more than one goal. You get the spirit of the thing. So pick what you want. And if you want to be motivated, I suggest you pick something measurable. And he told me, he said, Ty, you know why I like to make money? It's because it's easy to measure. He goes, money's not the most important thing, but it's the easiest to measure. It's easy to measure. You can see your bank account. Up, good, down, bad. Unless it's going down because you're investing. But then it's not really going down. It's just shifting to the investment. So if you look at net worth, net equity. Net equity, net worth, up, good. Down, bad. And he goes, I can measure that. So every day I go to bed. Now you can do that with the body too. Measure your waist. Guys, you want to have big guns? Measure the biceps. They say symmetry, your biceps should be half the inches of your waist. So if you got a 34-inch waist, you should have 17-inch biceps. That's a goal to reach, hard to attain. I've been trying to attain it and I still don't have it. But you know what? It's measurable. So I can go to the gym and motivate and go, boop, I got a little tape. Like, not hitting the goal. So my 4th little bonus tip is the way to self-motivate. Your life begins the day you figure out how to self-motivate. Pick stuff you can measure. I recommend health and wealth is the easiest. Love is a little complicated one, man. How do you measure it? Happiness is a little bit hard. Now, you could argue, and you're probably right, that love and happiness are more important than health and wealth. Maybe not more than health, but more than wealth. But they're hard to measure. And so you get a little bit lost with those goals. So let me just throw these goals out to you. Some purpose for this video. Set a health and wealth goal. Measurable. And I'll tell you what they should be. Health, for men and women, pretty much waist size. You can be too skinny and you can be too fat. Tough lesson people don't want to hear. You can be too much of both. There's a middle way. That's better. And I'm not saying I know what that is. And obviously some people are curvier and some people are naturally skinny. But ask any doctor with a brain, can you be too skinny and can you be too fat? He's going to say yes, and it's mostly around the waist. So measure your waist. I got a tape. I measure my waist. I fluctuate between 30 and 34. When I bulked up lifting heavier because I wanted to increase I got my bench press up to I can rep 315. Then my waist went up to 34. Then I modulate down. Now I'm in a cutting phase, I lost 20 pounds. I was at 204. Now I'm 184. And I cut my waist right now, it's just sub 33. So I've cut an inch. But I like it. It's measurable. I measure every Sunday. I don't measure too often because there's just some of the weight changes, water and stuff like that. But it's measurable. Wealth. Let me give you a goal. And when I say wealth, I don't say you're going to become a billionaire, you're going to become wealthy. It rhymes with health. Health, wealth, love, happiness. So make sure your net worth goes up this year. What's net worth? You take total assets you have, you subtract the debts. That's your net worth. So a lot of people focus on income. Ty, I want to get a better job. Well, you can get a better job, but then you spend it all and your net worth stays low. One of the things they don't teach us in school is that the primary goal should not be income. Income's taxable. Income's slips through the fingers because you spend a little bit too much. Net worth is a better goal and it's measurable. Can everybody be a millionaire? No, it's mathematically probably impossible. Can everybody be a billionaire? Definitely no. But can everybody achieve a net worth that spins off enough free cash to live a life? I believe so. That's my personal conviction. And I think the math can support that. You see GDP rising over the last 1 or 2 centuries. It's proof that as GDP rises, that net worth is rising. Not completely, because GDP is not a perfect measure. In some ways, it measures more income, but you see measurements showing, and net worth has increased. Even a poor person now, in some ways, is wealthier than a king in the 1700s who didn't have access to antibiotics, who lived in a castle that was sooty and had, caused respiratory issues. So we've gotten wealthier as individuals, even though we're still not hitting the goals for most people in the world, sadly. That's why I record this video. Because I'm telling you, you got 2 ways to pull yourself out of poverty. You can wait for government. And a lot of people waiting, boy. They're like, oh, look at Sweden. It's better than America. Well, I've been to Sweden. Sweden has more billionaires per capita than America. It's not very socialistic. It's a lot of people pulling themselves out by their bootstraps. And some people go, I heard a politician say, you can't pull yourself out by your bootstraps. Okay, then you're saying there's no hope, because I'm not waiting on any politician, Republican or Democrat, liberal or conservative. If you want to do that, you're playing a fool's game. You're relying on politicians and government that's been corrupt from the beginning. Thousands of years ago, the Roman Empire. Look at the Egyptians. They had government. I read their system. You want to live in the Egyptian government system? It didn't raise people out of poverty. You want to go into the Romans? Didn't raise people out of poverty. You want to go to, I don't know, the Habsburg Empire, the longest running modern empire, 1500s to World War I, 1918. Ruled, Austria-Hungary. Nope. The people at the top got rich. You want to go with communism? Well, you got Putin kind of in that, and he's probably the wealthiest person in the world. Didn't seem to trickle down. So I don't know that I'm going for that. If it's me, my recommendation to you is don't buy into the line. You can't pull yourself out by your bootstraps. Obviously, it's better. I wish I had been born to a wealthy mom and dad that gave me a business, because it's definitely easier to create wealth if mommy and daddy gave it to you. But you try to pull it out by your bootstraps. And is there luck involved? Yes, everybody got to bring up luck. I'm like, yeah, it's all lucky. It's all luck from a certain perspective. How about the millions of kids in Africa born, some countries, a massive percentage born with HIV? You and I, if that didn't happen to us, yeah, we've achieved luck. But you can still pull yourself out from the bootstraps. So maybe success is 90% luck, but you can't do anything about it. But the last 10% you can do. And I don't think it's 90. Maybe it's 50-50. When you can't figure out a percentage, go to the default, 50-50. So 50% of your success financially is luck. Were you born in the right place? Were you healthy? Did you get a little helping hand from a mentor or a school system or a parent or an uncle? But what about the other 50? That's on you. Self-motivate, my friend. And, people ask me, okay, Ty, what's the tangible trend to catch right now? Well, I told people in 2016. I was like, in 2016, I made this prediction. I said, listen to me. Social media marketing is a big thing. You can form your own agency. Companies don't know how to do it. Average business is owned by a 55 plus person. They don't want to learn Facebook ads, YouTube ads. And I started training people. And boy, people came out of the woodwork skeptical. Oh, what is this scam? But then I trained like over 80,000 people and became a legit thing. I trained so many people in social media marketing in 2016 that U.S. government gave me the trademark for SMMA, Social Media Marketing Agency. They usually don't give trademarks that fast. But I could prove that I had made a dent in the world. Actually, in the US, it was measurable how many people were able to build agencies that started getting customers paying them $1,000 to $10,000 a month. But that was 2016. And I've been telling, by the way, you already missed. I told people last month, you might have seen my videos, I said, I'm going to launch an e-commerce test group number 1. And I'm going to train people for 4 months certification program, like how to do Ecomm, 4 Ps. What are the 4 Ps? There's actually 7 Ps, but I don't teach that at the beginning. The 4 Ps: product, pricing, promotions, placement. How to do the 4. So I launched that and told people I'm going to close it. And then people were like, I need an extra week. So I opened up a second test group. And I'm going to close that test group, what is today? I'm going to put a link. I'm going to do a little blatant selling here. I didn't necessarily plan to sell. This is a long video, but Nothing wrong with, one thing Joel Salatin told me, my first mentor? He said, if you got something good, don't be embarrassed of it. People say, oh, you're salesy. Everybody's salesy. Everything's salesy. What do you mean? Everywhere I go, there's billboards. Everywhere I go, there's Apple Music branding themselves everywhere. Biggest corporation in the world is Apple. Nothing wrong with selling because they're selling something good. So I closed the first test group. So many people asked, literally thousands of people are like, Ty, I need to wait, paycheck, PPE, all this kind of stuff. So I've opened up this second test group, and I'll put a link below if you want to catch something early. When this second test group closes, it's closed. You ain't gonna be able to go to my website and click, for real. Some people go, this is an extension that I did, but I'm closing. You got less than 5 days, so click the link below. In it, I'm gonna give you a 4-month training program. At the end, you get a certification. You got an online exam if you pass it. If you don't pass it, you got to wait a week to take it again. It's sort of legit. Like, we're not just going to give you a certification. It's not a college degree. I'm a college dropout. So I am not going to pretend that I could give you a college degree. I don't even have one. So if you don't get in my program, no problem. Make sure you train somewhere else. And don't pay 120 grand to college to learn digital marketing. Become a medical doctor, that might make sense. Become an accountant, yeah, you got to have a college degree. Lawyer, don't be dropping 120 to learn from somebody who ain't never done Ecomm. So good luck out there. Click the link below or in the corners or wherever it is. And for those of you who get in, I'll see you on the next live call this week.